Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Dragon, and welcome to another episode of Which Card is Best? Gorz the Emissary of Darkness or Tragodia. So first of all, we're going to talk about Gorz the Emissary of Darkness. It's a dark, level 7 fiend with 2700 attack and 2500 defense. Its effect is when you take battle damage, you can summon this card and then summon a token appropriately to the amount of damage you just took. Or if you take effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then the damage you took, your opponent takes as well. The downside, of course, is you have to control no cards. That means even set cards. Tragodia is a dark, level 10 fiend with question mark attack and question mark defense. When this card is special summoned, it gains 600 attack points for every card in your hand. Once per turn, you can send one monster card from your hand to the graveyard, and depending on what stars it is, you can take control of one of your opponent's monsters which has the same equal amount of stars. Also, you can choose one monster in your graveyard and change the level of Tragodia, which comes in incredibly handy. Of course, with Tragodia, you can special summon this card when you have other cards that you control. So looking at both of these cards, they're both fiends, which is good. Gorz has two decent effects, as I say, with a downside, with the fact of you cannot do anything if you have set cards face down or any other monsters on the field. With Tragodia, you can bypass that, plus Tragodia can actually gain more attack points than Gorz. Where Gorz has a stable stat of 2700, Tragodia has question mark, which means its total amount can be 3600, which is considerably more than Gorz. So Tragodia is harder to run over. With Gorz, you can literally have a token on the field, so you can then summon a level 1 tuna monster and then synchro. With Tragodia, you can make synchros or exceeds easier because of its level modulation, and of course ditching a monster from your hand and to the graveyard, and depending on what level you send to the graveyard, you can take control of that monster. So Tragodia also has a built-in brain control. So there are so many good possibilities with Tragodia. With Gorz really doesn't do much at all. I mean, yes, Gorz is a brilliant card, but you have to control no cards before it can even be summoned or one of its effects to kick off. Whereas Tragodia, you can summon a monster, they can attack you directly, you summon out Tragodia, and then you can do shenanigans after that. Now, by looking at both of these cards work in different ways. They both do powerful things, and they both have their weaknesses. Gorz with set cards and Tragodia with hand advantage. But overall, these two cards do work well together. Most of the time you're going to have set cards. If you run a heavy trap deck, Gorz is not your good option, but Tragodia is. Sometimes if you run a lot of spells in a deck and very limited traps, Gorz is the guy. Just depending on what your preference is. These two cards do a lot of damage and can cause a lot of destruction along the way. But overall, I prefer Tragodia, just because it can be boosted up to 600 attack points, it has level modulation, and it's perfect for Exian. Whereas personally, I think Gorz is not too bad, but sometimes when you've got a lot of decent back row face down, and then your opponent really decides to smack you in the face, you really can't summon Gorz. That is Gorz's most annoying drawback. But Gorz is good in some ways. So please tell me what you think. Which card is best? Gorz the Emissary of Darkness or Tragodia? Please like this video and please tell me why you'd either choose Gorz or Tragodia. This is Mr. Dragon signing out. And remember, only real men use Watapon.